Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Anna Chaos. I know it's been about a month and a half to 2 months since the last video update, at least the ones that are on YouTube versus the one on Patreon. Patreon, I'm currently building up that entire environment. So if you get a chance, check out Anna Chaos on Patreon. And that one pretty much involves not just the Astrocat content, but all the content I'm currently generating on my own, including Anna Chaos, pretty much living with a toy collector, some of my gaming stuff here and there, but it's pretty much a lot of the stuff that I'm currently working on, or the creative stuff, including my art. I am putting it through my Patreon, so it's technically an Anna Chaos channel. But for most part, today's mostly going to be solely about Astrocats. So before let's get started, don't forget to check out our webpage, our YouTube channel. Don't know why I said doing that. Our Facebook, our Threads, Instagram, and our Blue Sky. I do my best to try to update those and monitor those as best as possible. Most of the time, it's just people liking stuff. So if you don't see me kind of engaging too much, is because I'm just going in saying, "Yep, people like my stuff," and then I just run off into the sunset to try to make more content. It's the never ending problem of being a creator while trying to do your marketing. It's a lot of work. It's kind of hard to kind of keep all those balls in the air, as it called. So currently just finished episode or short number 2. As I mentioned before, earlier this year, I decided to go ahead and give a lot of these AI tools a try. I created the Popcorn Monster short. That one took me around 60 hours and just roughly around two. If I was hoping to do it under $100, it turned out to be around $200 to $250. This time took me a little bit longer, so it's closer to 5 minutes versus 3 minutes. 38 shots in total. But I use every foot of my arsenal, and this one came closer to around $400 for the whole production. This is between 11 labs using Google Flow, my normal Adobe subscription. So pretty much it's still not bad for a 5 minute production and in my time. Most of what I'm doing with this is I'm currently refining my skills as I eventually do want to make the pilot for the show and the intro and all that fun stuff. And originally I wanted to go with the human touch, where it's all human made. But the reality is, well, as I mentioned before, I lost my job back in February, so funds are kind of very limited. The other thing is the labor pool. It's literally down to mostly me actively working in the project. So pretty much I have to make do with the limited resource of my time, because I am currently freelancing to make ends meet and working on the Astrocats project and pretty much keeping up with the AI. Um, One of the biggest problems that you might see, and it's not done intentional, is that continuity is still a problem. Mostly, if you see a lot of 3D stuff, it's not as bad, but when you're dealing with hand-drawn stuff and then trying to run it to the AI, there is no amount of prompting sometimes that can save your character from going off model. So when I tell folks that as I'm making this is, to me, it's at 85%. I really mean that to to the deepest of my heart, because I could not get certain performances to be the way that I wanted it, or end the human, like the voice fluctuation the way I wanted it. And the biggest thing I'm having problems is the keeping the eyes. It seems that the AI wants to make these big cartoony human eyes, and it doesn't understand how to do alien type eyes. I have been submitting feedback to the company so that way they can improve it. But the problem is sometimes when they improve the AI, they completely change the algorithm. So I have to completely relearn how to talk to the algorithm in order to get the output that I want. Um, to kind of get like something close to what I need for the performance of that scene. So is it perfect? Absolutely not. Is it still a work in progress? Yes. Is this something that I will continue experimenting with? Absolutely, because right now it's an army of me. So, yeah, so like I said, this is not discounting any artists out there. I myself draw a lot of these panels. So I call it the 75-25, where is 25% inputs by me. That's me doing the writing, doing the storyboarding, doing the panelings to feed into the AI, the character design and stuff. So it's 25% me, and then I have the AI do the additional heavy lifting, which is the animating part. Which, unfortunately, like I said, I used to be an animator in my early 20s. It is a very time-consuming process and truly a labor of love. And I am not discounting any artists that are out there that are animators. Trust me, my goal is to hopefully in the future get enough funding so I can actually hire people. But for right now, this is pretty much all that I have. So I just kind of want to bring the project to life, bring up the awareness. And then once that's done, then I can go ahead and move on to actually having hopefully some capita in order to invest to an actual production of an episode. And if you go to the previous, what do you say, recordings that I've done about the production notes, this is pretty much what the series is called. I've talked about this intensively before. Um, so pretty much this episode was pretty good. This is a remake of another episode called Deny, Deny, Deny. And this was done in the early 29, I think it was like 2020, 2021. It was around the COVID era. And it was me, Laura Byron, and David Holt. David Holt was part of the project, and eventually he departed from the project and just became me and Laura Byron, which I also talked about this intensely. So this is pretty much a remake of these shorts to try to bring them to life to pretty much refine the process. And you can still go right there to our Astrocats YouTube channel. Just type in audio short 3. You will hear the original. And then you, once I publish this episode out, you're gonna see how I had to modify some of the dialogue so that way it fit a little bit better with the current tools that I have, and also kind of make the story a little tighter, a little cleaner. That way, it worked out a little bit better. Um, can the story be improved? Absolutely, but right now it's a challenge between creative and tech. And this is something that if you ever work with animation or with technology, is something that happens that sometimes you want it to look a particular way, and because either the technology is not there or you simply cannot get the result and you just want to finish it so that way you can move on to the next project, either for deadline reasons, money reasons, timeline reasons, whatever. Sometimes you just have to kind of accept what you get. Yes. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of quickly show you guys. This has pretty much been some of the process that I've been through, experimenting with Captain Hobbes and the Astrocats, and it's gotten a lot better. Like I said, all these panels I hand draw them. I use some AI elements, but pretty much the placing of the characters in the shots, so the way they talk back and forth, kind of works out a little bit for my advantage. And then yes, we did finally bring in Grace into this episode. I was excited to see how the AI would handle her, and I think it did a pretty good job. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go back here to the beginning. I'm going to play a little bit for you guys, and then I'm going to have you guys just kind of check it out on the actual YouTube channel so you can see the full episode.
In the future, where the feline space patrol bravely protects all civilizations as we know it, two feline officers of the FSP talk about the most dire of situations, explaining to their boss what the heck did they do wrong.
Remember, Scully, just stick to the plan.
But what is the plan again? You keep changing minor details in the plan, Hobbes.
Okay, so a lot of the stuff you saw in the intro, pretty much I went to kind of have a similar intro where either we are panning in into the mothership to kind of get us to the situation we need to, but it's always going to start kind of with like a master shot, kind of establishing where everything's going to be at, and then just kind of go into the actual story itself. So the last two episodes is taking place on the actual ship. In the future, we do have one or two little short stories that we developed that's going to be taken off in a completely different planet. Then you're probably going to see it starting from the planet and then coming into the shot. Now, I will say, I had to change kind of Scully's personality a little bit. Originally, Scully was supposed to be a really bumbling, kind of goofy character. But I kind of thought, like, I personally, like, I watch a lot of anime. There's a show called Demon Hunter, and there's a character, I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he's the Lightning Kid. And I personally, he is my least favorite character in the show, mostly because I find him annoying as hell. I love the show, I just don't like the character, and you want to hate me for that, that's fine. I'm entitled to my opinion. So when I was starting to put the performance for Scully, it started going down that kind of annoying route. So I just kind of gave him a little bit more of a backbone. So you're gonna see that his personality is gonna be, he's still kind of goofy and he's still kind of naive, but he's kind of not willing to let Hobbes step all over him like he has before. So that's one of the things you're gonna notice in this episode. And again, this is part of the fleshing out process as you go through. Sometimes the original concept that you started in your story Bible completely changes as you develop the story to give it a better result. And again, and this is just us trying to build up some of like the back experiences with these characters before we start going into the main storyline, which is currently being developed by Lord Byron. So eventually I do want to start making, like, I'm up to 4.5 minutes now. The goal is to start getting to do about 11-minute episodes, which is gonna take a lot, because let me tell you, this took me a while to make. It took me about like 3 months to make, mostly because of the difficulty of having to relearn how to talk to the algorithm. So, but considering the fact it came below $500 budget and it took me around, probably gonna say roughly around 100 hours to produce this, including with music, including with sound effects, including with composition, that is still not bad for a one-person army or one-person studio. So, and again, there are other artists out there that are way, way more talented than me, that they done way more. But again, I don't know what their situation is, but I do admire them. Do not think that I am not, I'm using these tools to push the artist out of it. That is not the case. I just kind of want to bring these characters to life, flesh them out even more using the tools that I currently have, and pretty much just trying to bring the awareness up to hopefully get some funding to actually make the full show. But for right now, if it has to be on my own with Lord Byron, totally fine, and that's the way it is. But for most part, one of the bigger problems that I will run into this episode, and I'll go deeper into the Patreon, is trying to get the AI to cooperate. And I will show you right here. Here's the scene. I don't want to spoil the ending. So let's go. I think it's this one. Some of these were really goofy.
Is your head full of kitty litter? We can figure this out. Now calm down so we can get our story straight.
Okay, so one of the things that happened recently is that what it used to do, output one AI short at a time. And I mentioned this before, the way that most of the AI channels work, especially the low end ones, is that you can generate videos at a certain amount of tokens, but it's at 8 seconds at a time. So every time I'm creating a scene, I have to create quick cuts so that way I can go ahead and get what I need. There are times that I can even put the prompt exactly the same way and it will add things to the shot. And here's a great example. First of all, it added fingers and then it added a weapon.
Is your head full of kitty litter? We can figure this out. Now calm down so we can get our story straight. Is your
And not once did I tell it to add a knife or add a secondary character. It just did it. Okay, so this is the kind of difficulties that I come to pretty much deal with, and sometimes I have to kind of go through and create the episode, the short or that scene more than once. So if I go back to that one, I had to render the scene, and this was actually on the most gracious side. I had to rerun the prompt 3 times just to get something close enough that I can edit and I can use for the shot. But there are times that I have to do it multiple times, like right here. With, let me see, I think it's this one. Yeah, I had to run it 1, 2, 3 different projects for this, because after a while the AI gets so saturated. You can see right here. Here's 1 render, 2 renders, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 for that. 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I have to run, just to get something that I could slightly use, I had to run the prompt and keep refining it 13 times. And I will tell you, it gets more difficult when you have more than 1 character per shot versus when you have a single character per shot. So you have to really kind of be specific. You cannot say, you cannot mention the names by the characters because the AI doesn't recognize it. So it gets kind of really interesting how you write the prompt. But For the most part, guys, I'm actually pretty excited to show you guys the second short. Like I said, it is not perfect, but considering the performance from the first episode or the first short to the second short, I think there's a lot of improvements. I've definitely gotten a lot better, and I've also been freelancing and working with customers or clients that they're also using my AI animation for their advertisement at the local level. I'm talking like really small mom and pops that don't have a lot of funding. Um, but for the most part, we've been making it work. So I'm building my portfolio and my skill set as I'm just kind of, technically, I'm kind of doing what I love or what I originally went to school for. Before I kind of took a deviation to adulthood and had to take something that was a little bit more solid but boring. And now, the situation with the employment thing has forced me back to solely be creative. And the fact that I've been actively working on several YouTube channels at the same time have forced me to explore these tools deeper, and I'm just bringing a lot of this knowledge to this project. So that's kind of one of the positives of the situation. So yes. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys joining us on this production notes episode. Like I said, the video should be out by now. It's going to be published out Monday, December 15th, just in time for Christmas. I'm hoping to get one more short for Christmas, but, we'll see. But for most part, I'm pretty happy. I know this took a little longer than what I wanted to, but it got done, and then I'm getting ready to go to the next short, and the next short's going to be longer, and that's the goal. I want to start making these longer and longer and longer and start getting faster and faster at making these, so that way, we can have some story. It's been, what, 6 years since Astrocats started? Time to show you guys the labors of our, let's say, the fruits of our labor, and just pretty much, just giving you something for supporting us all these years. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for joining me in this episode of Production Notes. For more in depth, I'm gonna have the behind the scenes in on the Patreon. That is behind a paywall. Again, I am trying to raise funds in order to produce the show. So sorry, guys. But it's nothing exuberant. So yeah, no, nothing too crazy. But the more in-depth stuff is gonna go behind the paywall on Patreon. That's at Chaos at patreon.com. And with that, I think that's all that I got for today. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys and talk to you guys later. Cheers.